Hi, this is PG of PG's Lumacy. In this tutorial, we'll be making the Joseph figure for the Rainbow Loom Nativity Series. In this project, the loom will be in the standard offset configuration, which means the pins will be staggered. Our first step will be to make the arms, so that they will be ready before we place the bands for the main body of the figure. For the arms, we will first place 4 rows of dark green double bands. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I call it the arm, but it's actually the long sleeve of his tunic. And now for the hand, we will be using light peach double bands. And we will cap that with a light peach single band that we will wrap around this hook for 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do that again for the other arm. Now let us loop the bands for the arms. Go into the cap band and grab the 2 light peach double bands and loop them to the forward pin. Then loop the green double bands all the way to the top. Let's do that again for the other arm. Now that we are done looping the bands, we will take the pieces of the loom. And we will secure them with toothpicks so that they won't get undone. And we will set these aside until we are ready to attach them to the main body. Let us now work on the main figure. We will be using dark brown for the hair, light peach for the face, dark green for the outer garment, and olive green for the inner garment. And we will also be using caramel colored bands for the sandals. Let's start with the hair, and let us place a row of dark brown double bands. Then let's work on the face. We will be using light peach double bands. Two rows in the center, 1 on each side. And then for the chin, we will be placing a band from the center pin to this pin on the side, and we will do that on the other side. Now for the neck area, we will add 2 olive green bands. We already have a pair of olive green bands for the neck area. To that, we will be adding 7 more rows of olive green double bands. Then we will add the bands for the sides. From this pin to this pin, we will add 2 dark green bands. And we will do that on the other side. That will form the shoulder area. Now we will place 7 rows of dark green double bands on one side. And we will do that again for the other side. Now we will add 2 light peach bands on these 2 bottom pins. And then we will do that on the other side as well. And then for the cap bands on these pins, we will first wrap a single caramel colored band on a hook. 1, 2, and 3. And then we will get 2 caramel colored bands and thread those into the first band. And we will form this. And we will place that on this end pin in the bottom. Let's do that again for this side. Wrap a caramel colored band, a single band, on the hook. 1, 2, and 3. And then get 2 caramel colored bands and thread them through the first band. And then place it on this end pin in the bottom. That will form the cap bands and will also resemble sandals for the Joseph figure. Now let us place the horizontal bands that will hold the piece together and also define its shape. For the face area, we will be getting a single light peach band. We will twist it and then loop it to itself to form a double loop band, and we will place it on this row of pins. We will do that again for the next row of pins. A single light peach band, twisted and then folded to itself, form a double loop, and we place it on these pins. Let us place the horizontal bands on the body of the figure, and we will be using dark green bands for that. For the first, it will just be a single band that will be placed on these pins. And then next will be another single. And then the next one will be a double looped green band. This is in the waist area, just so it defines the waist of the Joseph figure. And then the rest of the bands will be single bands. Now we will take the arms that we made earlier and secured with toothpicks. We will place them on these pins, which are the shoulder areas for the figure. You may find it easier to replace the toothpick with a hook and then attach the arm to the body. I just find it easier to do it that way. This is the layout for the Joseph figure. You may want to pause the video and check to see if you have the same layout. Let us loop the bands, and remember that the arrow is pointing downwards and we are looping from the bottom all the way to the top. Let us start with these bands on the bottom. I had to go back for this other one because I only got one the first time. And now for this middle bands here, I would like for this horizontal band to be in the loop, so I get it over this pin over here, and then I loop this double olive green bands to the center pin. We only do that for this pin on the bottom, and then we will loop these bands to their forward pin. And for the next row, we will simply be looping the bands to their forward pin. The looping will still be the same when we get to the shoulder area. When we get to the shoulder area, before we loop this center double olive bands, we will first loop these diagonal bands. That way, the olive green double bands will be showing on top of these diagonal bands. So let's do that. Let's start with this side. We grab the double dark green bands and then loop them to this center pin. And let's do that on the other side. We loop that on the center pin, and then we grab the center olive green double bands and then we loop them to the center pin, and then we loop these olive green bands, and they're all the way in the bottom of this thick layer, so we grab them, we get them out of that layer, wiggle it out a bit, and then loop it to the forward pin. Now let us loop the bands for the head, starting with these diagonal bands that will form the chin. We get whatever is on top, and in my case it is this one, so I looped it first. Then I'm grabbing this one next. And then we grab the pair in the center. Then let's loop this row of bands. And before we loop these last row of bands, we will first move the upper end to the center pin, just so it will look neater when we bunch them together. So now that we've done that, we start with the bands on the sides. And then we grab the ones in the center. This is how it will look like when you're done looping the bands. You might want to pause the video and check to see if you have the same layout. Finally, we will secure these last loops with a single band. We insert a hook into these top loops, and then with a single dark brown band, we secure all of these loops by inserting the band into that layer and then making a knot and securing it. And with that, we will be ready to pull the piece out of the loom. It's a good idea to use the hook to support the bands so they don't get stretched out too much, and then we pull it out. This is the figure that we have made on the loom. Make sure this band that's securing them is securely fastened. Just stretch out the bands so they will fall into place. As a finishing touch to the Joseph figure, we will be adding more hair to the sides of his face. And you could use the hook that came with the Rainbow Loom kit, or a replacement crochet hook. I use an F or a G. But for finer detail and intricate steps like this, I prefer to use a fine crochet hook. This is a number 1 2.75 mm crochet hook. And we will be using dark brown bands to match the hair bands that are already in place. So what we do is to insert the hook into these neck bands from the back to the front, and then we get 2 dark brown bands and insert them into the neck bands like so. So we will have back loops and front loops. So what we will do is to get the back loops and then grab this band, this peach band on the face, and then grab the front loops. And into that we will thread a single dark brown band. Okay, so now we have, with this single band, we have a back loop and a front loop. You take the back loop and then grab this next band on the face, and then grab the front loop. And then to that we insert another single band. So we'll insert it into these bands. Oops, sorry. Let's do that again. Okay, so now we have another back loop and a front loop. We grab the back loop, and then we grab this brown, dark brown band on the top of the head, and then we grab the front loop. So now we got all the way to the top of the head. And for now, we will secure these bands that we have on the hook. We will secure them with toothpicks until we are ready to secure them with the bands from the other side. So let us do this entire procedure again on the other side of the face. Okay, so insert the hook into these neck bands, and through those neck bands insert 2 double dark brown bands. We get the back loops, and then we grab this band from the face, and then we grab the front loops. Then we get a single band, and we thread that through all the bands on the hook, and then we will get a new pair of a back loop and a front loop. You grab the back loop, you grab this band on the face or on the head, and then you grab the front loop. And then you get another single band, and you insert that into the bands on the hook. Now we have a new pair of a back loop and a front loop. You grab this back loop, you grab this brown band on the top of the head, and then you grab the front loop, and once again we got all the way to the top of the head. And we now have loops on this side, and we can secure those again with toothpicks. Okay, so we have 3 loops on this side and then 3 loops on this side. What we will be doing is now to secure these 6 loops with this band over here. So let's do that. Carefully take out the toothpicks. Okay, then you grab the 2 back loops, and then don't pull it too hard because the front loop is getting undone. So I'll just pull it out. Go. And then you grab the bands on the head, and then you grab the front loops, and all 6 loops that we had are now on the hook, and then we pull this band into all 6 of them until it goes out the back. Okay, there you go. So now we have added more hair to the sides of the Joseph figure's face, and it goes all the way to the top. And you could secure this band here by looping it again to some of the bands just to secure it. Okay, and then you tuck it in to the bands on the back to secure it further. Okay, and then you could get a C-clip and secure the end to one of the pieces on the back. Okay, make sure that it is firmly secured. Okay, and then you fine-tune the piece. From here, it's up to you what you would like to add to the Joseph figure. I would add a band across the face to resemble a mustache. There you go, we tucked in a band on the face to resemble a mustache. If kids are going to be playing with this, you might not want to put this mustache in here, or you could secure it. But if, like me, you will only see, you will be using this as a display piece, then you could put that feature on the face. And then you could grab a pair of whatever color band that you would like to use, and they could form kind of like a headband on his head. And then get another pair of bands, or maybe 3, to form a waistband. Just okay, insert those bands. I chose gray. It's up to you what color you want. Okay, I chose gray. And then we have placed a waistband for our Joseph figure. For the staff, I just cut a fine skewer to size. Joseph will be holding this in his hand, and then we will wrap that with caramel colored bands. And the way to do that would be to twist and then put it around the skewer, and then twist and then put it around the skewer, twist and then put it around the skewer, twist, put it around, twist, twist, and then twist. Don't put it on too tightly, because you will have a hard time pushing it to place if you put it on too tightly. Maybe 6 to 8 loops total, and then just for this first one, you could just push it to this end over here. Make sure it doesn't slip off. Okay, and then for the next one, twist and wrap, twist and wrap it around, twist, twist, twist. Okay, then loosen them up a bit, and then you will push it to the end. Okay, and then there you go. You will be doing this until you get all the way to the end of the staff. I have finished wrapping it all the way to the end. Then we just insert it into these bands over here that resemble the hand. Okay. Make sure it is at a natural looking height. Makes it look like Joseph is holding it. There you have it, the Joseph figure for the Nativity series.